Hello everyone, welcome to CNA, the daily newspaper analysis. So today we are back with the following content of list to discuss. But before starting, I just want to convey you all a message that if you want to avail our special programs associated with our courses and to also avail some of our free study materials, do join the WhatsApp channel as well as the Telegram group channel with the link given below in the comment sections. Okay, so now let's start with today's analysis. The first topic says about the level of groundwater extraction is lowest. So the recently this thing is in news because the Union Minister of Jal Shakti, he has released a dynamic groundwater resource assessment report for the entire country for the year of 2022. Okay, and this assessment was carried out jointly by the Central Groundwater Board, states and union territories. So such joint exercises between the Central Groundwater Board and the states or union territories were carried out earlier in various number of years, be 2011, 13, 1980 से शुरू हुआ था, ठीक है? तो लास्ट हम लोग ने 2020 में किया था. So now what are the key findings of this report? This report directly says that the main source of rainwater, that is the replenishable groundwater resources, is reserved from rainfall, which contributes to nearly 61% of the total annual growth or annual groundwater recharge. India receives around 119 centimeter of rainfall annually on average with a variation. Okay, obviously ये same नहीं रहता है, ये variation होता रहता है, लेकिन ये average एक quantity है जो India receive करता है. Now, a major part of the country receives the southwest monsoon rainfall. That is during the time of the monsoonal time, that is during the period of May, June, we can see the southwest monsoon directly touching into the country of India. Okay, via the region of the Western Ghats. So यहाँ पे क्या है कि like this monsoon which spread to the other parts of the country on the months of June to September, except in Tamil Nadu, where the major contribution is from the northeast monsoon during the period of October to December. Okay, जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं retreating monsoon. Okay, now the groundwater that we are directly replenishing, the total annual groundwater recharge for the entire country is around 437.60 billion cubic meters. तो यहाँ पे देख सकते हो BCM. ठीक है. So this analysis indicates that an increase in groundwater recharge mainly be attributed to increase in recharge from canal seepage, return flow of irrigation water, and recharges from the water bodies or tanks and water conservation structures. So in the last 18 years, the groundwater extraction in India saw a decline. Okay, so the total annual groundwater extraction as in 2022 has been assessed to around 239.16. तो आज हम लोग इतना ही एक्सट्रैक्ट कर पा रहे हैं 239.16 BCM, जो पहले हम लोग का था अराउंड 437.6. So out of this assessments we could see that various areas, okay, have been categorized as over exploited. Okay, तो ये ओवर एक्सप्लॉयटेशन कब शुरू हुआ था? जस्ट ड्यूरिंग द टाइम ऑफ ग्रीन रिवोल्यूशन, जब हम लोग ने इमेंसली एक्सट्रैक्शन ऑफ ग्राउंड वाटर यहाँ पे किए थे. ओके, जस्ट टू मेक आवर water rich crops very much of with the water, because they are very much of water rich crops, they need the water. Okay, and therefore we are directly extracting this groundwater because we do not have got a good canal irrigation system and all such things. Okay, तो ये हम लोग ग्राउंड वाटर से किए थे. तो आज यहाँ पे बताया गया है कि like around 789 assessment units of the country, around 1106 assessments are over exploited. ये over exploited category में आता है, तो देख सकते हो क्या. So therefore there is also an improvement in groundwater conditions, okay, in some of the countries datas as compared to the other. लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि यहाँ ये सब जगह पे improvement हुआ है. So this has not been improved in a very large numbers from the successive years. तो इसीलिए यहाँ पे growing concerns है कि ये जो level of groundwater extraction is directly lowest in 18 years है, जो एक टाइम में बहुत ज्यादा था, आज ये सबसे lowest में है. ओके, क्योंकि आज बस हम लोग के पास इतना क्यूबिक और इतना ही हम लोग के पास BCM जो हम लोग के पास अवेलेबल क्वांटिटी है, तो यही हम लोग के पास अभी बचा हुआ है. So that is directly a growing concern for this country like India, where we needs the groundwater recharge at an earliest, because without this groundwater it's very much difficult to have the irrigation facilities also to survive its livelihood in this country with the overgrowing population. ठीक है, तो वहां पे यही डिस्कस किया गया है about the reports recently published by the respective union minister of Jal Shakti, and this report is released. This report is directly told as the dynamic groundwater resource assessment report of the year 2022. ठीक है, चलो नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं टीवी चैनल्स टू ब्रॉडकास्ट द सोशली रिलेवेंट कंटेंट। तो यहाँ पे न्यू नॉर्म्स लाया गया है, ठीक है। सो इन दिस न्यू नॉर्म्स वी कैन सी दैट दिस इज बेसिकली वाज इन न्यूज बिकॉज द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन एंड ब्रॉडकास्टिंग recently has issued guidelines and specified some of the new uplinking and downloading rules. Okay, so earlier ये जो Ministry of IB है had issued an advisory stating that any kind of broadcasting be done only through Prasar Bharati. So now यहाँ पे जो चेंज कर दिया गया है रूल्स एंड लॉस, तो यहाँ पे क्या है, व्हाट आर द न्यू प्रोविजंस? द न्यू प्रोविजंस विल बी द ऑब्लिगेशन टू टेलीकास्ट कंटेंट इन नेशनल और पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट. Okay, so the television channels will have to telecast content in the national interest or public service every day for around 30 minutes. And nonetheless, these obligations will not be applicable for sports, wildlife, and foreign channels. Okay, what is the theme of this national importance includes? जो बोला गया है यहाँ पे. So the theme basically will includes about education, spread of literacy, agricultural, rural development, health and family welfare, science and technology, welfare of women, welfare of the weaker sections of the society, protecting the environment, cultural heritage, national integration. तो ये सब के बारे में दिखाना पड़ेगा. Also, no prior permission for live telecast of events. इसको prior permission नहीं मिलेगी. Also, यहाँ पे बोला गया है about the Indian teleports may uplink some of the foreign channels. Because today, if you see some of the companies that would be allowed to uplink foreign channels, they would create some form of employment opportunities and make India a teleport hub for other countries. ठीक है. So यहाँ पे जो ये लोग नहीं मानेंगे, तो the penalty clauses have also been rationalized and separate nature of penalties have been proposed for different types of contraventions as well as violations as against uniform penalty at present. आज uniform penalty लगते हैं, कुछ भी करो तुम, जो है वही लगता है, लेकिन अभी we have segregated everything. तो सब जगह से अगर तुम ये नहीं कर रहे हो तो इसके ऊपर ये पेनल्टी लगेगा, अगर तुम दूसरा वाला चीज नहीं कर रहे हो तो उसके ऊपर दूसरा पेनल्टी लगेगा. तो सब हम लोग अभी सेग्रीगेशन कर लिए, ठीक है. तो ये नया नॉर्म्स आया है. ओके, तो इट्स बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर एग्जाम पर्पसेस, देख लेना, ठीक है. नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं, पश्मीना शॉल्स. So we can see this pashmina shawls have Santoos good hairs, your customs office officials. Okay, so now this things was in news because recently the custom officials complained about the presence of this Santoos good hair in pashmina shawl, which is obtained from the endangered Tibetan antelopes. Okay, so what is pashmina? See, this pashmina is a geographical indication certified wool that has its origin from Kashmir region of India. Originally, Kashmiri people used to use pashmina shawls to keep themselves warm during the winter seasons. The term pashmina has been derived from the Persian word that is known as pasham. ये Persian word है, pasham, ठीक है, which means weavable fiber precisely wool. Okay, तो यहाँ पे पश्म का मतलब क्या है? Weavable fiber precisely wool. ठीक है. So these pashmina shawls are very costly due to their fine quality of wool and the hard work involved in making one single piece. Weaving a single pashmina shawl takes a long time depending on the type of work involved. It generally takes around 72 hours or more to complete one shawl. तो देख सकते हो तुम. Okay, so what is the source of this wool? See, the wool that is used in weaving the pashmina shawl is obtained from the domesticated goats in Ladakh, which is known locally as Changthangi. Okay, Changthangi. Changi. Okay, then Thangi. Changthangi goats. Okay, इसका और एक नाम है जो कि साइंटिफिक नेम है इसका, इसको हम लोग जानते हैं कैप्रा हिरकस के नाम से. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, लिख लेना कहीं पे, ठीक है, क्योंकि दिस आर वेरी मच टुडे इज इन न्यूज. तो दिस चांग थंगी एज वेल एज दिस कैप्रा हिरकस विच इज डोमेस्टिकेटेड इन लद्दाख, वहां से हम लोग को ये जो पश्मीना शॉल का ऊल है ये मिलता है. ठीक है, तो अभी यहाँ पे वी हैव सीन अबाउट द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ दिस शॉल. Okay, because this is very much an important shawl, okay, that has been prepared, okay, by a group of semi-nomadic people who are known as Changpa, Changpa. इनको बोलते हैं हम लोग चांगपा, ये लोग बनाते हैं. तो they are a semi-nomadic community which inhabits in the region of Ladakh and some of the regions of the Tibet autonomous regions. Okay, so एरफ 2001 का अगर हम लोग सेंसस के हिसाब से मांगे तो इन लोग को हम लोग शेड्यूल ट्राइब के हिसाब में मानते हैं. Okay, under the Indian government's reservation program of affirmative actions. Okay, so like this pashmina is one of the finest and the highest quality of wool in the whole world. Okay, so the Pashmina shawl attracted the attention of the people from across the world, and hence this became one of the most demanding shawls in the whole world. Okay, so यहाँ पे concern क्या है? Due to the restricted availability and the high prices, the adulteration of this Pashmina with sheep wool or ultra-fine merino wool is a common practice by the manufacturers. ठीक है, सो यहाँ पे जो ये जो दिस वन है कैप्रा हिरकस, तो इसका अवेलेबिलिटी के लिए यहाँ पे जो हाई प्राइसेस है इस ऊल के लिए, तो यहाँ पे इनमें मिलावट हो रहा है। ठीक है, सो ये मिलावट के लिए यहाँ पे जो ऊल मिला है, ठीक है, ये जो कपड़ा मिला है, तो यहाँ पे ये कस्टम ऑफिसर्स को यहाँ पे शंटूज गर्ड हेयर मिला है। ठीक है, दिस दिस इज बेसिकली ऑब्टेन फ्रॉम द एंडेंजर्ड टिबेटन एंटीलोप्स, तो यहाँ पे मिक्स किया गया है। ठीक है, तो ये मिक्सचर इट्स नॉट डायरेक्टली द क्वालिटी विच वी हैव डायरेक्टली प्रोवाइडेड द जीआई टैग। ठीक है, तो ये संटूस क्या होता है जो अभी मिला है, संटूस गर्ड है। सी, संटूस इज अ फाइन अंडरकोट फाइबर ऑब्टेन फ्रॉम दिस टिबेटन एंटीलोप, oftenly locally known as chiru, chiru, chiru बोल के जानते हैं इनको। Okay, so as per this IUCN, even this chiru is under the near threatened category. Okay, so as per the officials, the smoothness and the warmth, Shantu's shawl becomes a highly expensive commodity. ओके और यहाँ पे बिकॉज द शंटूज आर वेरी मच इन कॉमनेंस, ओके अभी जब यहाँ पे इंटीग्रेट कर दिया गया है, तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, इन लोग का जो एंटीलॉप है, इस एंटीलॉप का कमर्शियल पोचिंग हो रहा है, एंड देयरफॉर द पॉपुलेशन हैज डिक्लाइन ड्रामेटिकली। ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे इसीलिए ये ग्रोइंग कंसर्न है कि जिसमें यहाँ पे एक शंटूर को मिलाना नहीं चाहिए था इस पश्मीना में, लेकिन फिर भी यहाँ पे मिला के मिलावट करके इनका तो एफिकेसी कम ही रहा है, ऊपर से वी आर डायरेक्टली किलिंग मोर एंड मोर नंबर ऑफ एंटीलप्स फ्रॉम वेयर वी आर डायरेक्टली गेटिंग दिस फाइन हियर। ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे इसीलिए कश्मीना पश्मीना शॉल्स बहुत न्यूज में है। ऑब्वियसली लुक फॉरवर्ड विद द शंटूज आल्सो, दैट इज द अंडरकोट फाइबर बेसिकली ऑब्टेन फ्रॉम दिस टिबेटन एंटीलोप, तो ये भी न्यूज है, देख लेना, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। ठीक है, चलो देख सकते हो ये शॉल है। ठीक है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट शॉल है। ठीक है, तो अभी जब ठंडे के दिन आएंगे तो ये शाल वाला शॉल वाला, तो ये लोग सब पश्मीना शॉल लेके आ जाएंगे। ठीक है, देखते हैं नेक्स्ट, परांडूर एयरपोर्ट एज एनवायरमेंटल थ्रेट। ठीक है, तो रिसेंटली वी कैन सी दैट परांडूर एयरपोर्ट, द तमिलनाडु सेकंड लार्जेस्ट एयरपोर्ट, इज डायरेक्टली कमिंग डाउन। ओके, सो यहाँ पे बहुत सारे एलिगेशंस है, बहुत सारे लोग है कंसर्न है अबाउट द एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन दैट needs to be very much that needs to be very much done in this area where this Parandur airport is getting created. ठीक है, ठीक है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बहुत सारे प्रोटेस्ट भी हुआ है on the construction of this airport in Parandur. Okay, so this plan to construct the second airport for Chennai and alleged that the democratic rights of the Parandur residents are being eroded. तो यहाँ पे allegations लगाया गया है। यहाँ पे क्यों कंसर्न हुआ गया है? Because see, this area that is basically near to Parandur, these areas have got a lot many areas which is basically concentrated towards the agricultural lands. Okay, and we could see that these areas is also having a lot many number of wetlands as well as various number of ecologically important areas. ठीक है, और अगर मान लो एक यहाँ पे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एरियाज है ऑफ द वेस्टलैंड, जो हम लोग वेस्टलैंड को तमिल में हम लोग बोलते हैं पोरम्बोको। ओके, PORAMBOKKU, पोरम्बोको। ठीक है, तो ये जो जितने भी पोरम्बोको है, दैट इज द वेस्टलैंड्स। ओके, दिस वेस्टलैंड्स are basically acquired to provide such number of around 1317 acres of around this airport. ठीक है, तो ये बहुत सेंसिटिव एरिया है। ठीक है, which makes the area very much of ecologically balanced area. तो यहाँ पे जितने भी लैंड एक्विजिशन हुआ है, जितने भी यहाँ पे एक्टिविटीज होंगे, जितने भी यहाँ पे एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड्स होंगे, वो सब सफर करेंगे किसके वजह से? जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ दिस लार्ज स्केल परांडूर एयरपोर्ट। तो इसीलिए द रेसिडेंट्स who are self-reliant in these areas, okay, so they have to leave off their agricultural lands now. Okay, because even with the compensation that was offered by the state government, they will not be able to even buy new lands in the vicinity. Okay, as even when the announced airport project has driven up, real estate prices has directly made 100-fold. ठीक है, so therefore they are facing various number of difficulties in in these areas, though they have got land and though the state government is not directly meeting to the areas or to the फाइनेंशियल कंडीशंस ऑफ दिस लैंड। जो वैल्यू था वो वैल्यू तो नहीं दे रहे, बहुत कम ही देते हैं गवर्नमेंट। तो दिस हैज डायरेक्टली मेड द पीपल्स हु आर कंसर्न विद दिस रीजन, तो यहाँ पे बहुत सारा प्रोटेस्ट चल रहा है। इवन द एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट वर आल्सो प्रोटेस्टिंग बिकॉज इट इज डायरेक्टली इम्पैक्ट the environment. यहाँ पे EIA, that is the environmental impact assessment, is also not done in a very good way. So therefore, due to some of the exceptional things that is going on in these areas. यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा environmental threat है. Obviously, it's a home to around various number of flora and fauna. वो भी यहाँ पे खराब हो जाएंगे. So decorum है, ecological imbalance यहाँ पे दिखाई देगा. So that is because the concern that is directly going on in this area of this Parandur airport base. ठीक है, तो देख सकते हो यहाँ पे in this area, okay, we have got the highest density of this forest with this fauna. Okay, तो यहाँ पे this is the problem that is directly going on with this number of Parandur airport. ठीक है, next, India Russia payment still a issue. तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, we have seen about that the payment, तो हम लोग का रूपी एक्सचेंज का हम लोग का जो एक प्रोग्राम था, तो अभी यहाँ पे इशू स्टिल खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा है. Okay, because today you could see that even our external affairs minister S Jaishankar sahab, he is directly meeting his Russian counterpart, that is Sergey Lavrov. Okay, and he discussed a lot many number of issues associated with the payment mechanisms, associated with every other things that he needs to discuss. Okay, so now what is the issue? See, this India and Russia have been facing the issue of the bigger payment transactions. See, while smaller payments have been made between both the countries through the rupee ruble agreement. Okay, but जो large payments है, वो large payments ये लोग rupee ruble में नहीं कर पा रहे, just because of the trade imbalance that is directly accumulating more number of ruble towards the Russian side. So there is a lot of big movements to be made because various expensive contracts like those of the S-400 stealth frigates are currently being put into operations. And these two countries' central banks have been debating how to break the deadlock. So now, under this ruble trade agreement, which is a method of payment that enables Indian exporters to get payment in rupees rather than more common international currencies like dollars or euros for the shipment to Russia. But now this is directly facing a lot many number of problems because here we are seeing about that ये जो rupee ruble trade है, यहाँ पे जो rupee का value है as compared to ruble, वो बहुत ज़्यादा है. Ruble का value ज़्यादा है. So therefore we can see that such number of indifference could create some number of difficulties and differences between the rupee and the ruble exercises. Okay, so therefore यहाँ पे हम लोग का क्या एक urgent need है? There is an urgent need for India and Russia to establish a payment mechanisms independent of the SWIFT system, that is the SWIFT. Okay, for the issue of some of the bigger transactions. Further, India should also push for sale of more products to Russia to resolve the accumulated rupee in ruble mechanisms. And this will incentivize what? The trade relations in both the countries, and will also deepen the ties which were lagging from years, basically related to the financial corporations. ठीक है, तो ये एक स्टिग्मा है associated with this Russia ruble and Indian rupee. ठीक है, so next यहाँ पे क्या है? Unlaundered truth. So now the central agency should reflect about the way that they are using the political lens, and a special code they are directly dealing with some of the causes or cases under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. If Mumbai has to make some extraordinary sketching observations about the way the enforcement directorate functions. So now we could see about that recently यहाँ पे जो स्पेशल कोर्ट ने यहाँ पे जो प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग केस में, ओके, दे हैव गॉन फॉर सम ऑफ द एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी स्कैंडिंग ऑब्जर्वेशंस अबाउट हाउ द ईडी फंक्शंस. ओके, क्योंकि ईडी फंक्शंस कैसे करते हैं? अंडर द पीएमएलए ओनली, प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एक्ट के थ्रू ही करते हैं. सो व्हाट इज दिस थिंग्स व्हिच इज नोन एज मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग? सो वी नो दैट टर्निंग अ black money into white money is the type of money laundering that we can see in our country. सो यहाँ पे जो उद्धव ठाकरे जी का जो एक पार्टी के जो एक मेंबर थे, दैट इज संजय राउत जी, ठीक है, ही इज बेसिकली termed his arrest not only illegal but also one recorded for no reason at all. And the judge has found that the underlying criminal cases of cheating concerned about the set of people who had committed misdeeds, but they were not arrested. So the misuse of the agencies seem to be unlauded truth going by the court's remark. तो यहाँ पे कोर्ट ने ईडी को यहाँ पे एक्यूज किया है अबाउट मिसयूजिंग और मिसयूटिलाइजिंग द provisions of the PMLA, that is the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, so today we could see about the provisions of how this ED is directly going ahead with the disproportionate cases which deals with some number of money laundering. Okay, तो यहाँ पे वही बात बोला गया है कि how does ED could directly go ahead with some of the process so that they could directly easily tackle some of the processes associated with this money laundering. क्योंकि जब money laundering होता है, it's a very difficult task to directly entertain. क्योंकि money laundering में पहला stage क्या होता है? It is basically going with the like placement. Okay, तो यहाँ पे 3 stage होता है: placement, integration, and lastly we could see about that all the money which can be released out from the respective banks through the financial institutions which is getting deposited. तो यहाँ पे इन 3 स्टेजों में द person associated with any forms of illegal activities, they deposit the money in a financial institution, and after a period of time they directly tries to divert this money to some of the other bank areas so that it could release out from the financial institutions as a form of white money. ठीक है, तो ये जो मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग का प्रोसेस है ये बहुत कॉमन है. ठीक है, सो थ्रू दिस मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग ओनली द ऑल सच नंबर ऑफ क्रिमिनल एक्ट्स आर डायरेक्टली गेटिंग परफॉर्म्ड एंड आर फाइनेंस्ड बाय अदर स्टेट्स. ठीक है, सो दिस यहाँ पे वही सब बोला गया कि हाउ ईडी शुड बी वेरी मच इफेक्टिव इन डीलिंग विद केसेस एसोसिएटेड विद द मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे एकदम शॉर्ट का एक डिस्कशन था अबाउट द अनलॉन्डर टूट. ठीक है, सो दैट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे. वी कुड सी द फाइन नंबर ऑफ एमसीक्यूज. प्लीज डू attempt this MCQs and also attempt this attempt this means question. Okay, and do send it to us in our WhatsApp as well as Telegram group. So that's all for today. Thank you and Jai Hind.